listening to Tuesday Drive with Stephen.
And that was Amazed there from Lone Star. It's 25 minutes to 6. This is Tuesday Drive. Now, what are your kids like when it comes to their screen time at home? Do you find that they're spending more time looking at them than ever before? Or are you a little bit more proactive and make sure that there's a limit around the amount of time that they're looking at the screen? Now, let's face it, we can't avoid them. They're just about everywhere these days, including the loo. And some of you listening, you know that's true, whether you want to admit it or not. Well, as more and more children are being diagnosed with myopia, also known as short-sightedness, it may be comforting for parents to know that there are new techniques and strategies emerging to limit progression of the condition. Sophie Koh is an optometrist with Optometry Australia, and she joins me now. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Sophie. I've got to ask, what is myopia for those who may not know what it is?
Well, myopia really just means short-sightedness, which means that you tend to not be able to see things very clearly far away and tend to see things better close up.
Is it something that we automatically assume with screen time?
Yeah, well, if you were doing a lot of near work, such as looking at your devices up close, spending lots of time on your phone, and you're a child, there is a risk that you will develop short-sightedness more than a child that hasn't spent that much time in front of computers and screens, yes.
Would it be fair to say that it's more prevalent these days?
Yeah, I mean, our lives are all wrapped around our phones and our computers these days, and so myopia really, short-sightedness is really a problem that is growing globally, not just in Australia or other countries as well, and we're watching it very, very closely.
Because I understand, and I could be wrong here, but approximately 5 billion people will be affected by the year 2050. That's a lot of people.
Yes, and I guess everyone seems to have their own personal device these days, and our lives are more attuned to sitting down and looking at things rather than running outside. And there's some research to say that spending at least 2 hours a day outside for children is a protective thing against short-sightedness, and I think that's really, really great information for parents out there that are worried that these phones and computers are damaging our eyesight. We certainly have things that we can do to prevent or halt its progression.
Now, this might sound like a really silly question to ask, but myopia, is it a relatively new condition, or has it been around a lot longer before screens were invented? So back in say the early 1900s, for example.
Yeah, of course. Myopia is something that's been not being able to see. Some people can actually be born with the condition, and obviously kids develop it over their lifetime. But it is becoming more popular because we're doing more and more near work. And I guess 1,000 years ago, no one was holding an iPad or studying at home after school every night.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, there's certainly more of us out there with short-sightedness out there at the moment, and not previously.
Now, so what are some of the symptoms that we should be looking for in our kids?
Yeah, well, I'm an optometrist and obviously have spent 15 years seeing patients coming in to my practice complaining that they can't see the blackboard, for example. They might be rubbing their eyes when they're at school. And school is really the place where everything's heightened, everything's stressed and you have to concentrate for a long time. And most of the time that's when things start to show up. They might be complaining of a headache when they come home from school. And generally, having reading delays or having difficulties keeping up with schoolwork is one of the things that parents might want to look out for.
Now, I did allude at the start of the program this afternoon, just before we were about to chat to you, that when we see these these symptoms in our kids, and do we just expect them to go to the optometrist and for them to say, "Yep, here, have some reading glasses and off you go," or are there other treatments available?
Yeah, there's definitely other treatments available.
Right.
These days, myopia is very much the top topic as far as vision goes in children. And there's been a couple of other strategies, and not just glasses. And the best practice these days for looking at myopia is to how to prevent its progression, how to stop it from getting worse.
Mm.
And a couple of things up our sleeves that an optometrist can do is to provide special devices such as special what we call multifocal contact lenses.
Right.
We can do even overnight contact lenses known as Ortho-K, where you can sleep in these hard contact lenses overnight
Wow.
and take them out during the day. And particularly great for active kids out there that want to, play cricket without their glasses on. There's strategies. And there's also an eye drop called atropine, which you put in your eye to actually change how the eye focuses and actually delays the progression of short-sightedness.
Are you one of these people that squirm when you sort of got to help people or show people how to put contact lenses in?
No, I've been wearing contact lenses myself since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And I remember going to the optometrist, and she spent about an hour and a half teaching me to put it in because I was so scared, and I cried, and my eyes were red by the end of it. But now that I've had my own personal experience, I'm quite confident in doing so, with teaching other people. And kids can wear contact lenses as young as 6 or 7, depending on how mature they are and how motivated they are, whether they really want to end up at their cricket game or end of school dance concert without their glasses. So there's different ways that we can improve children's eyesight these days.
Is there a preference from an optometrist point of view to give people contact lenses over glasses, or are there sort of pros and cons for both?
There's pros and cons for both, and usually we sit the parents down and talk about the many options. And sometimes it's not to do with the finding might be that the kid doesn't need glasses at all. So I think making a visit to the optometrist and just making sure that your child's eyes are okay is the number one thing. And if they do end up having some findings of blurry vision and they do need some devices such as glasses or contact lenses, the options are usually spoken about and discussed with the parents before moving ahead. It depends on the person.
Now, we had a text come in from one of our listeners, Brad from Berry, and thank you very much. He was asking, do you get short-sighted as you get older?
Well, within a certain age group. So when you're after 40 or so, you tend to become less clear up close, and that's called long-sightedness or presbyopia or age-related focusing problems. And you tend to have a slightly different issue. But if you are in your late teens or early 20s and you're doing a lot of near work, there's a chance that you might get more short-sighted, yeah.
Okay. And as you're getting older, does the screen time affect you as well, like when you're kids?
Yeah, well, screen time basically makes your eyes go into overtime and working hard to focus on something. And things such as dry eyes play a big part. So you're staring at a screen makes your eyes more dry because you're not blinking as much, and also puts a bit of strain on your visual system to concentrate on something. So everything that's, wrong with your vision to start with gets sort of heightened in a way in front of a screen. So if you're sort of experiencing fatigue on the screen or watery eyes or tired eyes or even red eyes or even a headache after, doing a whole day's work, best to see your optometrist to work out if there's any sort of visual problems underlying, or even if your eyes are just dry.
So it sounds like no matter what age you are, it can affect you.
Of course, yes. Screens are not meant to be sat at for all day, every day, and we recommend having a 20-20 rule. So basically, every 20 minutes, get up and actually look away from the screen for 20 seconds.
Now, I've got one last question for you. This was sort of a geeky tech question. We've seen big companies now like Apple and Microsoft sort of putting into place these sort of screen tones or true tone or night shift tones on the software now, where it sort of adjusts from a cool light to a warm light. Does that work? For the average person?
Yeah, there is some small studies out there that suggest that these kind of certain wavelengths affect our ability to sleep at night. So actually dimming them down on our devices may help our quality of sleep. And so these night shift kind of settings you can put on your phones. And certainly I would recommend that people try that and to see whether that helps with their sleep at night.
Well, Sophie, it's been a pleasure to talk to you this afternoon and shining a little bit of light there on myopia. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And that's Sophie Koh there, an optometrist from Optometry Australia. And if you want to catch up on any more information, you can head to the Optometry Australia website. And we'll pop the interview up on our Tuesday Drive Facebook page very soon. It's just bang on 5:45. It's lovely to have your company wherever you may be listening right across the Shellhaven this afternoon.